Big with Steve Bartilla.
What we're starting on today is the first of 2 episodes on edge feathering. Edge feathering is one of the most powerful tools we have for reshaping the habitat, increasing browse. Man, you can screen your activity so that the deer don't see you, and make it so that the deer can't see other deer, meaning that this is a huge advantage when it comes to bucks looking for does. They have to actually go into these plots to see if there's does in there rather than standing in the woods and just looking from a safe distance. Okay. There are many, many advantages to edge feathering. Okay. We've already covered how to edge feather, as well as all sorts of hinge cut techniques in previous episodes. We don't have time to go over all that stuff. Remember, you can go to Food Plots for Deer, and there we've got our own personal website. We've got a whole bunch of hinge cut videos, and all of the Grow 'em Big episodes that have ever been done is in its own area on Deer and Deer Hunting's website. And remember, before you ever pick up a chainsaw, make sure you familiarize yourself with all the chainsaw safety rules, follow them religiously, and to cover ourselves, we're going to suggest you go out and you hire a professional logger. Now, what we want to do is we want to get into the specifics, show you precisely how we've used edge feathering in very specific examples. The first is fairly common. We have one access point to our food plot. A bunch of hinge cutting back in here to create doe bedding. Okay, that's very visible from our access. Sure, it's about 200 yards away, but from the way the topography lies, when you come up that main road, you stick out like a turd in a punch bowl. You might as well be jumping up and down, waving your arms, screaming, "Hey, we're coming in to hunt you." So don't bother coming out. Okay. Edge feathering works great, as I mentioned, as a screen. So we went along that area. We edge feathered all the trees along the road. So now you can slip down that road without those bedded deer ever having a clue you're there. Yes, you have to play the wind, but you just went ahead and foiled their sense of sight. Next, we need to address hunting. We've got a nice little food plot up here. What it is it's a little inlet off the farm field. We've went ahead and planted miscanthus along the end of it to create a nice visual screen. Now, it's a beautiful place that the deer feel plenty safe in. It's only about a half acre in size. It's a nice spot for hunting. The problem is we don't have a safe wind direction there. We also don't want to use edge feathering here for funneling, because the deer are naturally going to come out the very back of the food plot. But we don't want to hunt back there because it's too high impact. We want to hunt right next to the farm field. That way we can go ahead and we can pick up the deer that are feeding out in the food plot, as well as the deer that are cruising along the edge of the farm field looking for does and such. Okay. Here, what we're using edge feathering for is blockade work, pure and simple. Okay. We're going to go ahead and wrap edge feathering around the point, down the side a little bit on the east side, so we can put a tree stand on that point, cover the farm field and cover the food plot. We'll go ahead and later we'll slap a scrape tree out in front of it, and we'll go ahead and bury a water bucket as well. So now we're sucking the deer over there and we have safe wind directions. On the other side, we're doing something very similar. We're going out past the point again. Now, because of the way it lays, you're not going to catch most of the movement along the farm field on that side. So we're in just a little bit further, but we're covering the entire food plot because we went ahead and dropped a couple trees to push them over. Okay. All we're doing here is making it so we have dead zones for wind, making it so that the deer are not coming through these areas. So now we can hunt this area on darn near every wind direction. Okay. The other scenario I want to talk about is this location that I call the boot. It is a great spot. There's tons and tons and tons of food and deer out there every night. The catches is way too big to cover, and wind directions again. So what we're doing is we're edge feathering an entire block, and we are making it a nasty, nasty mess because we do not want deer to go through there. That creates a beautiful stand site on the point for deer coming out the corner and following along that edge, as well as following from the food plot down along the edge out into the farm fields. Okay. Now on the inside corner, we went ahead and left an opening. We left an opening there about 20 yards from the tree stand site. Now, so the deer are going to go ahead and go through there. Also, about 20 yards into the woods, we created a blockade running back into the woods as well. Now we just took that inside corner funnel and we made it that much better. Put a scrape tree out in front of that as well. And no, you're not covering every single deer that enters the boot food plot, but now we're probably covering 40%. Whereas before, this good stand location, you were lucky if you were covering 10%. Lastly, what we've done is we've slapped a redneck blind out in the plot itself, and later we're going to take and run some snow fence from the wood edge out to that blind as well. So now the deer have to come out around that blind to get to the farmer's grain crops.
Growing Big is brought to you by Wildlife Research Center, the gold standard. Reconics, see what you've been missing. Antler King, bigger bucks, healthier deer. The Heater Bodysuit, you stay warm or your money back. Furminator, the best food plot implement on earth. Bush Hog, performance you can count on. Redneck Blinds, the best hunting blinds on the planet. Chestnut Hill Nursery and Orchards. And foodplotsfordeer.com, planning your habitat improvements and improving your hunting.
Edge feathering is a very, very powerful tool. You can use it in many specific situations to create dead zones and to make it so that deer are funneling through past your stands in safe wind directions within archery range. Next episode, we're going to cover a couple more scenarios. By getting down into the nitty-gritty of these scenarios, you can actually see how you can use these techniques yourself. See you next time.
Growing Big with Steve Bartilla.